Reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Book 2, Chapter 1, Text 14. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vaikuṇṭhaṁ durlabhaṁ muktaiḥ. sāndrānanda-cid-ātmakam. niṣkāmā ye tad-bhaktā labhante sadya eva tat. That abode, Vaikuṇṭha, is made of concentrated ecstasy and pure consciousness. Even for liberated souls, it is difficult to attain. But the Lord devotees who are free from selfish desires reach it at once. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Tatsur Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayan Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So greetings from Govardhan. Govardhan is just facing me directly. I just came back from the the Govardhan Retreat Center. It's amazing. It must be about 20 acres. I think maybe more than half of it will just be forests. And literally, it was made on the pure desire of Bṛhad Prabhu and Sāndrānanda Swami. That's all I could say. It was just desire. Of course, there has to be some action, but it was really amazing. And what the halls filled, hundreds and hundreds of devotees, perfect sound system. And Bṛhad Prabhu was giving class on the 10th canto. So I left, I think it was from 4:30 to 6. I left at 5:30, so I can come back here on time. And nice to see God Brothers, Brahmatirtha Prabhu, Tattvaja Swami, I saw him, Pancharatna Prabhu, Satchidananda Swami, Pushpavan Prabhu. Really nice. So let's get into this text. They're going to be a little challenging. I know it inspires interesting talks. Hopefully this will be interesting, but let's just put it, is someone coming in? Oh. Let's just put it in context. There's a theme. Every book has a theme. It's the one idea in which everything else is connected. That's what the theme is. And the theme of this is it's Lord Chaitanya's desire to communicate his mission to the world, which is to give Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. We know that from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It describes, actually it's interesting because I'm going to give I got to think of my seminar in Puri. And I'm thinking of a seminar called The Mind of God. And discussing how important it is to know the mind of God and what is the process of having that revealed to you. And I was going to give some examples from the Bhagavatam, but one is right there, and where why God does something, why? It begins in his mind. God said, "Let there be light." There's a reason he spoke. So it described that at a particular time when God was going to come down, when Krishna was going to come down, he wanted to give spontaneous devotion, raganuga bhakti, to the world. And to give raganuga bhakti to the world, you have to understand ete chamsa kala pumsa Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. You have to understand Krishna and devotees of Krishna, and to understand that what Krishna said is somehow or other, love is made weak by reverence. Of course, reverential love is higher than material consciousness, and it's pure, and it's powerful, and it's wonderful. But in comparison, the flavor of that love and the devotees who give that love and how Krishna responds to that love, in reverence, and I mentioned this before many times, there has to be distance, can't be intimate. It has to be distant. There has to be obligatory, because when you deal with a superior, there are certain etiquette and rules, and there has to be some fear. But fear can be an inspiration for love, but a kind of sweet fear. I don't want to disappoint. So that's why Lord Chaitanya appeared. And then to give that, it has to be understood. Because any practice is based on a goal. So the goal has to be explained. And remember, I've repeated this throughout our discussions, that in the very beginning it said, tasya parama antim. Antim means the end, and para means the top end. He wants to give the top end. So the whole book is to explain what is at the height. And if you want to explain what is the height, you have to understand what is not the height. So there was the first book. This is the second book, and remember again, you have to understand the setting and the dynamicism of the setting. It's Maharaj's last day of his life, maybe last hours, and on his mother's request, he's summarizing the Bhagavatam, but he can't, in that summary of the Bhagavatam, he has to reshape it to give his mother the message. And Maharaj Parikshit realized that that was done previously by Jaimini Rishi to Janamejaya, the grandson of Maharaj Parikshit. So that was already done. So to give this summary of the Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit is narrating this summary of a particular Mahabharata where Krishna is presented in a very intimate way. Mahabharata is the great history of India. It can be approached in different ways. And we saw that story and how it highlighted the love of the gopis by this Narada's search, where he is led progressively by one Vaishnava says, I'm not, this is the devotee, I'm not, this is the devotee. And he's led, and then it finally comes, and we had that whole dynamic story, culminating basically in Krishna being angry with Satyabhama for not appreciating that and explaining to her the exalted nature of the residents of Vrindavan. So Mother Uttara heard this, and it was so enlivening to her. But her understanding wasn't yet complete, nor was the understanding of the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta complete. Because there's different ways to explain the highest, and one is to explain the people that are there, and the other is to explain the nature of the abode. So she somehow understood in the story, she came to the point of the gopis are the highest, but now she wants to understand something about the abode of that, or that place, as the ultimate destination. So, she asks her son, basically, I think it was maybe 10. Purport, Uttara has some doubts about the identity of the personal abode of Sri Gopinath, but she does understand that the devotees whose love is focused on Gopinath's lotus feet deserve to be elevated to the most excellent destination, a place better than all others. To express this understanding to her son and properly establish the context of her inquiry, she speaks 11 verses describing the various destinations of different grades of progressive souls. So this second book, rather than concentrate on the gradation of people, it's going to discuss the gradation of abodes. So it will culminate in Vrindavan, and as the highest place. So to give context for that, she begins to explain different higher destinations for this purpose, to clear her doubts about their identity. So it's just like we have one doubt. We may hear the word heaven. The Christians have a concept of heaven. But in Sanskrit, I don't know, like in the Vedic canon, heaven is not the ultimate destination. It's a place, it's a high place of material enjoyment where pious people go. So there's this understanding the destination. Because Lord Chaitanya wants to give us that place, wants to give us the bhakti of the people in that place. And through Sanatana Goswami, he wants to make it clear to us what that is. It's just like a GPS. If you put in the wrong destination, then all the other calculations become useless. So bhakti means first understanding your goal or your destination. And your goal or destination will determine the map to get there. Because if your destination is Vaikuṇṭha, the map to get there is a type of Vaidhi bhakti. If it's Goloka Vrindavan, you have to come to the platform of Raganuga sadhana bhakti. And that's described by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He gives 3 verses, giving kind of a short sutra of what that type of devotion is. But you have to understand the goal first. The goal becomes before the practice, even in the beginning, in the Bhagavatam, when it's first spoken in 4 verses. I've noticed something, not many people have spoken to it, but the verse that describes the prayojana is verse 3 of the Chatur Shloki. The first 2 describe sambandha gyan. What is the ultimate reality and what is our means of knowing it? The 4th verse describes abhideya. No, the sambandha gyan means what is the ultimate reality and what is our means of knowing that it's the ultimate reality. Then abhitetva is the means of realizing that ultimate reality. Not just knowing this is the ultimate reality, but how do you realize that ultimate reality? But the interesting thing, in the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatam spoken in 4 verses, the prayojana, which is the result or the goal of realizing God. In other words, you have to have a conception of God, you have to understanding how to realize it, and then you have to have a description of the result of doing so. The result of realizing God is feeling God and feeling our love for God. But that prayojana tattva is verse 3. And the abhideya tattva is verse 4. Because unless you understand the goal, you can't determine what the practice is to achieve it. So this is about establishing the goal. Both the consciousness of the people who have achieved that goal, of what Lord Chaitanya came to give, and the place in which those perfected souls reside and which is our ultimate destination. So she begins Uttara from what she knows, that people perform some pious activities and they achieve these celestial worlds, but those who have renounced that, they can achieve 4 worlds even beyond that. And then Prabhupada said grihastas, if they have a certain seriousness, etc., they can also. So it explains that, and then, but explains that for most of them, shine punyamarta kritam hi lokam, for most of them, when their pious activity expires, they return to the earth. But few can even go beyond that and become liberated. And then, and it describes also that there's even a yogic way to become purified of your desires. That's described in the 2nd canto of the Bhagavatam. And where you have a strong yogic spiritual destination, but you're able to fulfill and renounce your desires progressively. And it must be on a very subtle platform. But it's going to describe before, unless you're selfless and pure, you don't enter into that spiritual realm. We have to look at our hearts completely pure. Anya bila shita shunyam. Zero. Shunyam. No other extraneous motivated desires. But so anyway, it describes that there's a path, and it's very interesting. It blew my mind when I first read that. I told Vrajya Devi, she's studying the second canto. They have a study group in Italy. That I do have I did write a study guide, an elaborate study guide in the second canto. And that was really before we had computers. And I remember I had a big disk and I lost that disk. I couldn't find it. We had these huge computers. And it's very interesting. I divided into section themes, and because initially when Borijan was writing his commentary on the Bhagavatāmṛta, he said I should do the second canto. And the 5th chapter, the cause of all causes, was so elaborate and so difficult to understand that Jayadvaita Maharaj told they went to Prabhupada and he didn't even give them much advice to edit it, really, because it was so complex and difficult. I remember I'd go over it because I had to understand every verse and its context. But I studied this. It's described here, this material desires. The yogi has material desires, and there's different ways to become purified. So Mother Uttara is asking about these. These are common things are known. Somehow, Braja Bhakti and Goloka Vrindavan before Prabhupada was hard, it was much more confidential. Because we have an understanding that the spiritual world must be different than this. So when we see it has forms and relationships, etc., we're conditioned to think that is mundane. The whole Bhagavatāmṛta, I mentioned this point, it does 2 things in 9 cantos. It purifies your intellect so you don't think the pastimes of Krishna are just fables. And it purifies your heart so you don't think they're mundane. Otherwise, you'll prejudge them based on your mundane experience, which doesn't actually apply. For it is very difficult. And even, because this is Maharaj Parikshit telling the story of Jaimini Rishi also. And Jaimini Rishi is telling the story how, Uttara really wants to hear more. But when Jaimini Rishi is talking to Janamejaya, he says a very interesting thing. It's very difficult to understand this. But a loyal disciple can. Because without faith, you will not consider the truths that are beyond your frame of reference with enough effort to actually understand them as truth. Our frame of reference is limited. There are many truths that are beyond our ability to comprehend, not because they're incomprehensible, but because our intelligence is so conditioned. It's a little difficult to understand. So unless you have faith, you won't make the effort to understand how they are true. You'll just a priori reject them. This is mundane. Or this is, just some fables. So, so when I was reading that in the second canto, it described that our universe is 4 billion miles wide. That's Earth. Then there's the air covering, which is 40 billion miles wide in our universe. No, the water element is next. So it's 40 billion miles. And within that, water has the speciality really of taste. Earth, water, fire, 400 billion miles layer of fire with sight. Earth, water, fire, air, 4,000 billion miles. Has the speciality of sound. And then 40,000 billion miles, ether. Now, ether has sound, air has touch. So those are the sensual experiences. So the yogi is actually able to go through that and experience the pleasure that each of those elements give, somehow in a way to drop it and go to the next level. Every level you go up, you have to drop your material conceptions. So it's a yogi. He has there's some desires that are still left. They're very subtle. They're very subtle. So this process is there. And then it makes it really interesting point that the devotees also have that option to enjoy on the heavenly planets and the higher regions and become purified and then go to the Lord's abode. And that's what Prabhupada said when Jayananda passed away. If he had any material desire, he would enjoy 10,000 years on the planet of the demigods and then go back. So it's all said here. It all says that here. Bhakta bhagavato ye tu niṣkāmā sway cha ya kilan bunjanai shuka bhogans te visuddha yanti tatpadam. But even the devotees of the personality of Godhead who niṣkāmā are with material desires, swa-ichaya, they can bunjana shuka bhoga. They can bunjana, they can enjoy sukha bhoga, the pleasures. They can enjoy them. And then vishuddha yanti tatpa, and then te vishuddha, they become fully purified and go to that abode. So Uttarakhanda knows something here, that there's a degradation. It's understood there's different planets, how you achieve them. Then you can go beyond the universe. So it describes these sakarma devotees. They somehow are able to finish up their last enjoyment in the world, and by the power of the devotional service, all these things are gone, and then they achieve the Lord's abode. So he understands that. So she also understands something about the spiritual world. What she doesn't understand fully is Goloka Vrindavan. So vaikuṇṭhaṁ, durlabhaṁ, muktaiḥ, sāndrānanda-cid-ātmakam, niṣkāmā ye tu tad-bhaktā, labhante sada eva. That abode, Vaikuṇṭha, is made of concentrated ecstasy and pure consciousness. Even for liberated souls, it is difficult to obtain, but the Lord's devotees who are free from selfish desires reach it at once. So actually, we're only separated from perfection by our selfishness. And that's why, Prabhupada's mission, he wanted us to be so clear from sahaja. Sahaja means cheap. You can achieve this perfection without purifying your heart, just by some mental conceptions. So he really made it clear what you have to do. You got to surrender. You can't surrender in the past. You can't surrender in the future. You have to surrender now. And what does surrender mean? Surrender, to put yourself under truth and people who represent that truth. That's why we're in Krishna consciousness. That's why Krishna gave us the association of devotees. To some extent or another, we wanted to live by truth. And therefore God has sent us all sadhu Sanga. So let's go through this purport. Marge Uttara now tells her son Parikshit what she understands about the transcendental nature of Vaikuṇṭha. So she's inquiring. There's something special for the lover of the gopis. So she wants to explain these other abodes. Parikshit has heard similar general descriptions of the Vaikuṇṭha atmosphere from Sukadeva Goswami in the 2nd and 10th cantos. So I'm not going to read it, but there's verses explaining. So now Uttara, in the next verses, in a general way, she's going to explain this Vaikuṇṭha. And this is as high as her realization goes. But she's going to, she wants to hear a summary of the Bhāgavatāṁ from her son. And that explains something higher than Vaikuṇṭha, which is Goloka Vrindavan. Now in text 14 through 19, we're on 14, Uttara similarly explains in a general way the transcendental existence of Vaikuṇṭha. The Lord's personal effulgence faintly reflects the spiritual atmosphere of Vaikuṇṭha, which is the fullest manifestation of the absolute truth. Having reestablished a personal relationship with the Lord, pure Vaishnavas attain Vaikuṇṭha. Impersonals, however, at best attain the Brahma-jyotir effulgence, where they realize their eternal existence without knowing their relationship with God or the ecstatic pleasure that comes from serving Him in that relationship. In other words, the Vaikuṇṭha atmosphere is a super-intensified version of the Brahma-jyoti, and thus the life enjoyed by the Lord's devotees in Vaikuṇṭha is much more wonderful than the comparatively insignificant pleasure of merging in Brahma-jyoti. And Rupa Goswami says that the pleasure of Brahman is infinitely greater than any material enjoyment. But if you multiply that by an infinite number, it still won't equal a drop of the pleasure of pure devotional service. And why not? If there is a God, what can be the limit of His pleasure? And since it is service to Him, what is the limit of the devotees that carry that mood in their heart and express it? Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira Nicholas tu avaptasu jivan mukta suhuchate. Iha yasya harer dasya. Their servants, karmana manasa gira, with their work, their mind, their words. So what is the limit of that pleasure? Here's how it's described. Sāndrānanda. Sandra means like concentrated. Bhava is lax. It's the sun rays. Prema is like the sun. It's heat and light, but more concentrated. So that pleasure in Vaikuṇṭha, which is Vaikuṇṭha durlabhaṁ, muktaiḥ, which is difficult to be achieved even by impersonal liberated souls. But the devotees who are niṣkāmā, they're free from selfish desire. Labhante, sadya, quickly, indeed, they attain that. Because the distance, we're seeing all these indirect processes, but there's the direct process of full surrender. Prabhupada gives the example of the Gordian knot. There's some store in medieval folklore where there was this knot, and I guess if you untie it, you get the kingdom or something, and no one could figure out how to untie this knot. And then Alexander the Great came and he took a sword and he just sliced it. So I think Prabhupada told this story. That's what surrender is. When you actually go in your heart and announce to Krishna with all sincerity, from this day I am yours. I am your kinkari. Whatever you want, I will do. Full. So it's concentrated. The pure devotees living tattva Sri Krishna padabja sakshat seva sukham sada bahudhanu bhavantaste ramante thik kritamritam. The pure devotees living in Vaikuṇṭha enjoy forever in varied ways the happiness of directly serving Krishna's lotus feet. In comparison, the nectar of liberation appears condemned. In comparison. So the pure devotees, they enjoy sakshat seva, direct service. Bahuda, in various ways. Anubhavante, they are experiencing. Ramante, and enjoying that pleasure of service, God's own pleasure. It's the same pleasure that we have is the same pleasure that God has. Because love is one energy, and the subject and object enjoy the same energy. But in comparison, the amritam, the nectar of liberation, appears condemned. Narayana prasarve nakutas chanya bibhyati swaga pavarga narakeshu apitulya. One who is Narayan Parayana, one who loves God. Narayana prasarve swaga pavarga. No, it doesn't matter where he is. Purport: for the residents of Vaikuṇṭha, God is not a distant abstraction. They see him always and serve him, for that service is never tedious or degrading, but it is always sheer enjoyment. We look at activities and judge how they'll feel with our consciousness. But one who has bhava and prema and that mood and swimming in that ocean of ecstasy, then they're vaikuṇṭha v'triptātma. They never get bored of these things because it's a consciousness. It's not a material organization around them. It's what their consciousness is. Okay, next week is going to be it's 1 week, so I'm trying to cover a bit. It's also going to be a little bit challenging because it's going to describe the different levels of devotees. Jnana-bhakta, it's going to be Jnana-bhaktas, Shuddha-bhaktas, Prema-bhaktas, Prema-parabha-bhaktas, and Premantara-bhaktas. So somehow there's a degradation, a gradation. There's a gradation of various forms of love. Anyway, it's night here today, and you know me, I get up real early, so it's 7:15 here. So I've been up since 1:30 in the morning. So but I'm doing good now. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Would anybody, Jumanajaya, you started off sharing a realization?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thanks for class. There's a lot of really great thoughts today. One of the first was the notion of the sweet fear. I never thought of that. You know, there's so many times about fear God, and I was like, oh, but this thing of the sweet fear that you said of not wanting to let him down is a really sweet way to
Because it's an expression of love.
Yeah.
If you have like a real reverential relationship with a superior, it's not the same. It's born of love, so it actually increases love. When Mother Yasoda sees Krishna in danger, she fears for Krishna, but it only swells her experience of love. So, yeah, okay.
Thank you, Raj. I love that point. Thank you.
Thanks, Jumanajaya. You're in Yoga Maya now?
Yes. Very cold here. The heat cuts off on Friday night. So by Sunday morning, it gets pretty cold here at Yoga Maya.
They don't turn the heat on again?
Yeah, this building it's like a regular office building. So the heat shuts off on Friday and it won't go back on until Monday morning. So always Sunday mornings when I come in, it's always super cold. So I'll have to do an
What
extra
kind of
hard job.
nonsense is that? You're renting that for a lot of money for yoga thing,
Yeah.
and are there kind of space heaters in the room or something?
Yeah, I'm right in front of one, and in the big studio where I'll teach the class, I turn them. I get here at like 6:30, so I turn them on to heat up the room, and so yeah, cool cold
Okay.
yogas this morning.
Okay.
Thank you,
Gail,
Raj.
you have a comment or question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you. Yes, a couple things. One is, I like Jamuna. I also like this sweet fear, because you always talk about the fear, but I never got the sweetness of it before. So today you were saying that it's a fear of disappointment,
Yeah.
but just now you were saying, like in Goloka, like when Mother Yashoda fears for Krishna, it increases the love. So in like Vaikuṇṭha, where there is that fear of disappointment, does that also increase the
Yeah,
love?
it's also part of the love.
Yeah, but does
Yeah.
it increase it also?
Yes, it does.
Oh.
It does. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's love. It's an emotion. It's an emotional component of love.
Oh.
You know, let's say Prabhupada's here and you're maybe a little nervous, did I do it right or something? But it's it's all born out of your Guru Bhakti. So there's kind of a feeling there. What to speak of Vaikuṇṭha, where pure souls are there. And there's, those prayers, Om Param, Om Paramam, like these kind of real reverential type things.
Okay,
Yeah.
Maharaj, also you were saying that, there are two ways to describe love in the spiritual world. One is by describing the gradations of the devotees, and another is by describing the I guess you can say gradations of the dhams, right?
Yeah,
So,
right, because different places, a place is constructed to facilitate love.
right.
So let's say you're a family person, you come home from work and you sit in your living room, right? And there's all the pictures of the family around. Then there's your chair as the father. You know what I'm saying? It invokes that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like indirectly, by describing these various dhams, you are indirectly describing the different levels of devotees, which is the actual point, isn't it?
Yeah, you're actually describing the flavor of love that's there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And the story is going to come with this Gopa Kumar, where, the story is he's a cowherd boy and he meets his guru, and the guru gives him the Gopal mantra. And he has that divya gyan, somehow it's in his heart, that some deep flavor of bhakti, but his guru is not there to guide him, and he leaves. So he searches for that place that's commensurate with the kind of love he has.
Yeah.
And he goes to various places, which we'll also go to. And even in those places, he's never satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Like a family man, and when they used to have the real families, when they were intact and many children, and and they were functional, and in those type of things, the place could be missing his place. If the father went out on a trip, he may be missing, his living room.
Mm-hmm.
Why? He's not missing the objects. He's he's missing the feelings he had there that invoke those sentiments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Maharaj, you said that Janmejaya was Parikshit Maharaj's grandson. So who was the father?
I think Abhimanyu, right? I'm not sure. I'll look it up.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Tota Gopinath here. Always great to hear from you.
Tota.
Haribo.
Kalchandri, nice to see
Hare
you.
Krishna, thanks very much for the class.
You seem to be in a real comfortable place.
I'm always in a comfortable place here. Thank you.
Okay, give my regards to Kritanjali.
Thank you, I will.
Shraddhanjali, yes. Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Just welcome into.
I'm Bṛhad. Thank you for class.
Thanks for class.
Okay, nice to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
I'm already. Thank you.
What's that? What's that? Oh, I'll see you soon. Yeah, okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for a wonderful class. You were teaching the same verses in December of 2011, according to my notes here in the book. And I know you're better now. And I love the line, we're only separated from perfection by our selfishness. That really hit me. That's powerful, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
I taught this, 13 years ago?
Yep.
Hopefully I have more realizations now. Henry, you've been through the whole journey. When did we start with these classes? And
Well,
they weren't
at least 20, I mean, at my fifth, I'm 68 now, and I was already listening with Jainachai and Kalachandji on my 50th birthday a flip phone. We were listening to you. So you started it on the phone nearly 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. It's great. You've been there from the beginning. Thanks,
I
Henry.
never miss a Sunday morning. It's the best time of the week. Thank you.
Great. And I see some of your friends here, Brahmatirtha and Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta Swami. He looked real good, you know. He looked real good. I saw him. He was walking, taking walks around the project, and then I ran into him.
So
Yeah.
nice.
Okay. Oh, and Borijan was telling the story of Dana killing the donkey demon. And somehow or other, Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta Swami was expertly making donkey sounds. Every time Borijan would mention, he turned to him and he would make a sound. He's very talented in that way. Okay. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Shirupa, thank you so much for class.
Okay. Nice to hear from you, Shirupa. Okay. We'll keep in touch. Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, good morning, Maharaj. It's Mike and Kelly from Jersey.
Did you have your little program yet? Or that's coming up?
That was last night.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was
Great.
great. Lal was there. Lal and brother were there. They brought their famous mac and cheese. Yvette was there. I see her on.
It was wonderful.
Beyond my wildest dreams.
Bhakti Vinod came?
Yep, Bob was there.
Okay.
It was so fun and wonderful to have the association. Thank you for the suggestion of inviting the Metro.
Yeah, you invite everyone, but it's just a few people will come naturally. But how many people came to your program?
There was 11 total.
Okay, great. Okay, Lal and Braja.
Yeah, we sang. We ate.
You, yourself. Anybody from Philly?
The Philly crew, yep.
Yeah.
Philly!
Yeah.
Your favorite.
It is.
Eileen was there. I think you've met her before.
Who?
Eileen Shovlin.
Oh, yeah. I think she came, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what was the menu?
Friendsgiving. So we had like a vegan turkey, vegan mashed potatoes, stuffing, gravy, cranberries, sweets. A list of sweets I couldn't even name. The New York, New Jersey crew really sets the bar high with the prasadam, so we had to make sure we reciprocated the love. And
did you cook most of it?
Yeah, I cooked all of it.
He did all of it.
Okay, all right, nice. Thank you. That's great. I love this. The Metro Mantra Sanga moves a little bit west.
And you were top of mind and in our hearts the whole night.
You really
you were a part of the conversation. There was even a gift that was given that was symbolic of you that really was special. So you were there in spirit.
Because it's Bhakti Vinod was really thrilled that you guys moved into the town that he lives in. So it was really nice for him. He was talking to me that to be able to just go in your same town and have a program, etc.
Especially with kids and.
Okay, yeah, right. He can't get away that much either. That's great. Okay, he had a good time.
He did. He led a great kirtan.
Okay, great. Okay, Haribo.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay, anybody else say hello?
Maharaj, it's Yvette. It was a great time last night. They did great.
Yvette, you don't miss anything, and
try not to. Some things I do miss, and I'm heartbroken.
I've never seen you miss.
I have, but
I haven't seen though. Maybe it has, maybe it's not. But by direct perception, maybe by authority, someone will tell me you were in some place. But you'll be here in Govardhan, and you'll get to visit.
I pray that I'm able to enter the Holy Dham and be in your service. No, I haven't. No.
Okay. Yeah, you'll be able to visit my ashram. You'll be staying at the Govardhan Retreat Center a few days, but I'm like, I walk there every day. I walk there, it's about 30 minutes, so that'll be good. You'll definitely come to my place. You'll
Yes.
see the Govardhan Bhakta Seva Ashram, and I'll show you the Govardhan Hilton.
I'm looking forward to it. I know it's
Okay.
good. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, Haribo. Anybody else like to say?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Hemala Tarrada.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Thank you so much for class.
Haribo, your reception's not so. Oh, there you are. Okay, great. Thanks for coming on. And Sham
Thank you so much
Kishore,
for class.
you're going to let your wife, you gave her permission to go?
If it's with you, Maharaj, always it's the right place.
What a great answer. What a great answer. Okay. Yeah, actually speaking also, Hemalatarada, at the end of March, for about 8 days, Satyananda Swami is giving another retreat with this Gauranga Darshan, who's supposed to be a great Bhagavatāmṛta scholar. So I'm going to go to part of that too. So that's right across the, so there's a lot of activities here now because they have these retreat centers. There's a lot, actually speaking. There's another thing, but no, you may be gone before that, but there's this Rupanuga Seva Kunj, this other retreat center, and they have, it's so beautiful. They planted 10,000 trees. I'll show it to you. I think you went there, right? Did I ever show you?
We went with you, Maharaj. Yes.
Okay, so, but now they got these beautiful deities of all the 6 Goswamis, and when they have the festival to inaugurate those deities, they're having the Goswami families of each of the 6 Goswamis with their families to come to do the pujas of each of the deities.
Nice.
Okay, good.
I'll be gone, unfortunately.
Well, you'll get a lot of nectar, though. We'll take you there before. Okay, anybody else?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, I just looked down the list.
This is Krishna-katha. Thank you greatly for the lesson.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm looking down the list of people, so I thinking I'm seeing everyone who's come to class.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. Haribo. It's soon?
It was supposed to be Friday, but still not. So we'll see.
Okay. You look effulgent, so there must be something in you that's special. Okay.
And Maharaj, I have to tell you,
Yeah.
no one can do a donkey like my husband. If it weren't so embarrassing, I'd have him do it for you.
No one can do what?
A donkey imitation, impersonation.
Impersonation of what?
A donkey.
Okay, no. When he comes to Govardhan, when I give Srila-katha, then we'll engage him. But
okay.
Don't bring him on here. Okay.
No. He's at soccer anyway. But
Okay.
yeah, it's embarrassing how well he does it. Because those were when he was growing up, those were their cars, donkeys. So he's very familiar.
Okay. All right. Her husband is from Italy, born in Italy. Where is he from in Italy?
He's like from the spur of the boot, the Puglia, the state of Puglia. It's a small town.
Is that Sicilian?
No, above. It's above Sicilia. It's above. It's by the spur of the boot,
Okay. You have met Vraja Devi. Where are you from?
Very northeast, very close to Austria.
She's from the Alps. Okay.
Alps, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm headed out now. Thank you all. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu, baby.